As a fan of Final Fantasy VI, we've all had that discussion at some point. What would it be like if Final Fantasy VI was a movie? So I asked AI, specifically ChatGPT, to come up with a cast of who should play who in a Final Fantasy VI movie. So let's check out the results that we got. Let's start with everyone's favorite half-human, half-esper, Terra Branford. Now, AI suggested that Terra should be played by Saoirse Ronan. If you're not familiar with her body of work, she was in Hannah, Brooklyn, Atonement, and The Lovely Bones. Now, I'm not really familiar with her work exactly, but from what I've seen in clips, I think she would do a pretty good job. Now, as for what she would look like if she was playing Terra, this is what AI came up with. Now, I had to take some liberties with this one, only because I had to ask AI to give her green hair. And from what I see, I think she would make a pretty good Terra. What do you guys think? Now, I want to rank this from 1 to 10. Now, considering the looks, I think she would look pretty good as a Terra. As for her acting, I think she could probably do it. So to rank it from 1 to 10, to be honest, I'd probably give her an 8. Next up, we have Locke Cole. Now, AI suggested that Locke should be played by Chris Hemsworth. Assuming the majority of you know who Chris Hemsworth is, for those of you who don't, he played Thor in the Thor movies and the Avengers movies. He played the Huntsman in Snow White and the Huntsman, and he played Captain Kirk in the 2009 Star Trek movie. Now, this is what AI came up with in terms of what he would look like playing Locke in a Final Fantasy VI movie. And I have to say, he does look pretty good playing Locke, but here's where I have a problem. Chris Hemsworth is a very muscular dude, while Locke isn't. Locke is kind of a skinnier, kind of guy. So I would take points off of that. But, AI is not perfect, of course. But overall, I would say that this is probably like a 6 out of 10 kind of thing. I mean, his acting is really good. He could probably play Locke. But in terms of looking like him, I don't think so. Next up, we got Edgar and Sabin Figaro. Starting with Edgar. Now, AI suggested that Edgar should be played by Oscar Isaac. Now, if you're not familiar with his work, he was in Ex Machina, and he's in the Star Wars movies where he plays Poe Dameron. Now, as for what he would look like playing Edgar, well, this is what it looks like. Now, here's the thing. I had to take a little bit of liberty by adding the blonde hair to him. Only because he has dark hair naturally, and Edgar and Sabin are both blondes. And considering how he looks, I don't really think he's that perfect for playing Edgar. I mean, his acting is pretty good, but overall his look I don't think is really suitable for playing Edgar, because Edgar is like as a pretty boy, he's very a ladies' man kind of person. So I feel like having him look like this doesn't really match. Now let's move on to Sabin. AI suggested that he should be played by Jason Momoa. And if you're not familiar with Jason Momoa, he played Aquaman. And I have to say, this is what AI suggested that he looks like. Now, I have a couple of things with this. First of all, yes, he is muscular, so I think his muscular look fits with Sabin. But if you want to overlook the tribal tattoos and everything that he's got, that's fine. But I just feel like it's not 100% perfect to look like Sabin. But I do like Jason Momoa's acting. I think he's a very good actor. And plus, who would not want to see Aquaman suplex a train? I mean, if they're going to make a Final Fantasy VI movie, they have to give us a suplexing train scene, right? So, let's give them a score. As for looking like Oscar Isaac, I would give him like a 6 out of 10. Whereas I would give Jason Momoa probably in like a 7 out of 10. Up now we have Shadow. Now AI suggested that Shadow should be played by Daniel Wu in a Final Fantasy VI movie. Now I'm going to show you what he looks like without a mask on to kind of show you what he would look like kind of dressed as Shadow. So I'm not going to really judge on that fact. Now I think he looks really good as a ninja type character. I'm not familiar with his acting, but from what I've seen, I think he would do a really good job. And if you just put the shadow mask on him, I think it would look really great on him. And just to kind of judge overall from 1 to 10, I think this would probably be a solid 8 in my book. Up now, we have Celes Chere. Now, AI thinks that she should be played by Alicia Vikander. If you're not familiar with her body of work, she was in Ex Machina as well, along with the man from U.N.C.L.E. Now, I'm not really familiar with her work exactly, but let's see what AI thinks that she would look like as Celes. Now, I think if AI thinks this is what she should look like, I kind of do like the look. I mean, granted, it would need some tweaking, but I think her acting skills would be very applicable to a Final Fantasy VI movie. I do think, as I said, with the way the AI came up with the image for her, I do think with minor tweaks, it would look really great. So, overall, I would have to give her look and her acting as Celes probably a 7 in my book. And now it's time for everyone's favorite wild child, Gao. Now, AI thinks Gao should be played by Jacob Tremblay. Now, if you're not familiar with Jacob Tremblay, welcome to the club. Jacob Tremblay was in the movies Room, Wonder, Before I Wake, and you might know his voice from the movie Luca, where he played Luca. He was also in the movie Good Boys, too, if you ever saw that one. But anyway, now, Gao here has green hair, but Jacob Tremblay does not. So I had to ask AI to add green hair to Jacob Tremblay to look like Gao, and this is what they came up with. Now, here's a few things I have to say. Number one, the hair I think could be a little bit better because Gao's hair is a little bit more on the spiky, mohawky side. So you have to probably fix that a little bit. And not to mention, you can't really tell from the picture, but Gao has like a ponytail in the back, much like Sabin's hair. But considering the clothes too, the clothes need to be a little bit more on the like rattier looking, because Gao is a feral child who has no sense of style. So I think we would kind of take points off there. But if you kind of make those minor tweaks, I do think that Jacob could probably nail Gao's personality, considering Gao's kind of an easy character to kind of emulate with the right amount of skills, but overall, I would say I would give like a 6, because I would say just based on the image alone, didn't really nail the aesthetics of Gao's character. So, as I said, I would have to give it a 6. Next up, we got Cyan Garamonde. Now, AI suggested that he should be played by Ken Watanabe. Now, he is known for being in The Last Samurai, Inception, and the Godzilla movies. Now, from what I've seen, I think Ken Watanabe's acting is really, really great. I think he'd be able to nail Cyan's character really well. The only thing I would say he would need is probably his mustache. But here's a rendering of what AI thinks that Ken Watanabe would look like playing Cyan. And honestly, it's pretty good. I would say AI nailed it pretty good. I mean, the outfit itself needs a little bit of work, but I think everything else is pretty good, I would say. So, is it perfect? No. Is it good? I would say for a rendering, I would say it's pretty good. And I think his choice of playing Cyan, I think, is a pretty good choice. So overall, I gotta go with an 8 on this one. And now we have Setzer Gabbiani. Now, AI suggested that Setzer should be played by Tom Hiddleston, which we all know Tom Hiddleston as playing Loki in the Thor and Avengers movies. Now, let's take a look at what AI thinks that he would look like playing Setzer. Yikes. Okay, just a few things right off the bat. Obviously, just the aesthetics alone, I have so many questions and so many issues with. But I did have to tell AI to give him white hair to kind of help match the aesthetics. But I think even that didn't really help that much. Now, I like Tom Hiddleston. I think he's a great actor. I think he can probably do Setzer really well in a Final Fantasy VI movie. But I think AI really missed the mark in trying to nail his whole aesthetics. I'm not going to blame AI too much, but for the sake of grading, I gotta give the look probably a 3. But Tom Hiddleston, I do like him, and his acting is great, so I gotta give him an extra point, making me a 4 overall. Now let's talk about Strago and Relm. Now, AI suggests that Strago should be played by Sir Ian McKellen. Now, if you're not familiar with Ian McKellen, he is best known for playing Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings movies. Now, I think with a little bit of tweaking, I think he could probably play Strago really well. Well, let's take a look at what AI thinks he would look like. Okay, so I did take a little bit of a liberty here, because I had to tell AI to add a mohawk to him, so this is the best it came up with. I do think the aesthetics could, work. I mean, just change the color of his robe to red, and I think we could probably get a really, really good Strago. So overall, I would probably give like a 9. So now let's take a look at Relm real quick. Now, AI suggested that Relm should be played by Millie Bobby Brown. A lot of you probably know Millie Bobby Brown from playing Eleven in the Stranger Things TV show. Now, I think with her acting ability, she could play Relm really, really well, because I think she has enough sass in her acting ability, in her repertoire. I think she could really nail Relm's character really well. So let's take a look at what AI came up with in terms of what she would look like. Well, with the exception of the overalls, I mean, I think a little change to the outfit. I think she could play Realm really good. So I probably would have to give the AI's whole look for her as Realm probably give like a 7. And last, and most certainly not least, we have Kefka Palazzo. Now, AI suggested that Kefka should be played by Willem Dafoe. Now, if you're not familiar with Willem Dafoe, he's probably best known as playing the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man movies, amongst other things as well. But AI thinks that Willem Dafoe is a really good choice as playing Kefka. Now let's take a look at AI's rendering of what he would look like as Kefka. Oh my god. No pun intended. But I gotta say, AI really nailed this one. Perfect. Oh, like maybe a 1 degree off from perfection on this one. I think he looks really good as Kefka. I mean, just look at it. And here's another picture to kind of give you an idea. My goodness, he looks really, really good. I mean, if they can do this as AI, I think they can do this in real life. And honestly, I think that Willem Dafoe would probably be a really good choice as playing Kefka. I mean, he's already played villains in the past, so why not make him this villain as well? Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree with AI's choices for actors and actresses for a Final Fantasy VI movie. Let me know what your suggestions are in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're on Twitch, you can find me at twitch.tv/BlackOmen219. Until then, you guys, I will see you in the next one.